Radhe Radhe and happy Republic Day. A spiritual good morning to one and all on, of course, Thursday, 26th January 2023, where along with me for this recap video for Bhagavad Gita Recitation Chapter 2 is Mummy.
Radhe Radhe everybody, happy Republic Day and happy Vasant Panchami. That Veena Vadini, that Saraswati Devi, she is the one for bestowing all the knowledge and wisdom on us.
So we'll go ahead with one round of recitation of all the verses, starting with chapter 2, verse 56.
Chapter 2, verse 56. Dukkeshvanudvignamanaha Sukheshu Vigatispraha Vitaragabhaya Krodhaha Sthit Dhir Munir Uchyate Yah Sarvatranabhisnehaha Tat Tat Prapya Shubhashubham Nabhinandati na dveshti tasya prajna pratisthita yada sanharate chayam kurmongani sarvashah indriyanindriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha Indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. So now let's look at one important word from each verse. I have chosen from verse number 56. This word is Anudvigna Manaha. Anudvigna Manaha means one whose mind is undisturbed. That is what Krishna is teaching us, that we have to control our mind. From verse number 57, there is a very important word, Anabhisnehaha. Anabhisnehaha means unattached, that we have to learn to keep ourselves away from the objects of the senses. From verse number 58, again, in similar sense, there is another word, sangharte. Sangharte means withdraw. When you keep away from the objects of the senses, you withdraw. Verse number 59, again, similar sense word, vinivartante. Vinivartante means restrain, how you control. And from verse number 60, there is a very important simple word, that is yatataha. Yatataha means keep striving, when you keep on practicing self-control. And let's look at another word here, that is vipaschitaha. Vipaschitaha means the person who is endowed with the discrimination power. That is the power which tells us what is right and what is wrong, what we should be doing, what we should not be doing. With that, I'll give it over to Gagan to explain the verses.
Yeah, a lot of interesting words this time, but with a similar theme, as you mentioned, right? Unattached, withdraw, restrain, one who's practicing or while practicing self-control. So plenty to learn over there. Now, as you said, let's briefly see an explanation of each of these verses. Chapter 2, verse 56, the catchphrase here is vital virtues, or Vita with an L, virtues, because Sri Krishna says Vita Raga, Vita Bhaya, Vita Krodhaha, being free from the pleasures of the senses, being free from fear, and being free from anger. So an enlightened person does not harbor such material frailties as Swamiji says, material frailties such as lust, greed, envy, etc. In fact, the mind then can actually spend time and contemplate on transcendence. So being undisturbed amidst misery and being free from the pleasures and attachment, fear, anger, etc. Sri Krishna says all that helps define a sage of steady wisdom, which again, he's using these few verses to describe a response to Arjun's questions from before. Chapter 2, verse 57, as a question, the catchphrase is delighted or dejected. Sri Krishna says that in fact, a sage of steady wisdom or a sage of knowledge or divine wisdom is someone who is neither delighted by good fortune nor dejected by tribulation. Swamiji in the commentary, he gives a snippet of an otherwise longer poem called If by Rudyard Kipling. And the fact that it is so popular and it transcends all cultures and countries shows that the natural inkling and desire of the soul is to be an enlightened person. So again, delighted or dejected. In fact, it's neither, for a sage of steady wisdom. Sthita prajna, as we say. Chapter 2, verse 58, we have tactful tortoise. Sri Krishna uses this wonderful imagery and analogy, the example of a tortoise, where we're seeing that, if you feed your desires by, satisfying them with objects of the senses, it's like dousing a fire with ghee or clarified butter. Swamiji gives that example and says, yes, the fire may temporarily, wither away, but it's going to come back. And it'll quickly come back with double the intensity. So in fact, yes, we all have desires, but those desires need to be channeled towards bhakti, God, and devotion. So you discard desires and find happiness in God. Sri Krishna's example is that of a tortoise with its 4 limbs, the hands and feet, and its neck and head. Total, that is 5. That is akin to our 5 senses. So when the kurma, the tortoise, senses danger, it withdraws into its shell. It withdraws the 4 limbs and the head, the neck, into the shell. And when things are safer, it'll come back out of the shell. Likewise, we as souls, as enlightened people, or striving to be enlightened, we have that ability to be able to control our mind and senses like the tortoise. Next up, chapter 2, verse 59, as a question again, this catchphrase is suppression or sublimation. Swamiji gives the example of either being sick or feeble or maintaining a fast. Temporarily, those desires are, lower or suppressed, but then they come back again. The minute one feels better health-wise, or the minute one's fast is over, you're going to again seek food or other objects that the senses would like. So again, stressing light on the fact that the soul does have desires, but it seeks higher taste. The natural inclination, in fact, is towards bliss. God is bliss. God offers bliss. So that is the higher taste that the soul seeks. And in fact, Swamiji says that the Bhagavad Gita doesn't teach a dry suppression of these desires. Instead, it helps us appreciate that those desires have to be sublimated, take them to a more noble platform by channeling or dovetailing them in the direction of God through devotion and bhakti. Finally, chapter 2, verse 60, very simple catchphrase, strong senses. As Sri Krishna says, the senses are extremely strong and in fact turbulent. Just like you have the wild horses that make a chariot go in all random directions, our senses also then, like those wild and reckless horses, need to be disciplined from within. The commentary by Swamiji has a very long story of Sage Sobari, so you're welcome to go back and read that. But in essence, Sage Sobari laments at the end of that story from the Bhagavatam by his seeing fish mating and having desires to have a family. All that story is provided in Swamiji's commentary. But at the very end, Sage Sobari had lamented that he had caused destruction upon himself. So it is indeed very, very difficult. Sri Krishna says that the senses are turbulent, but as we continue week after week, we shall see even more guidance and wisdom on how to continue progressing along this path of spirituality. So that is a brief explanation of all 5 verses. We shall now go back and listen to their chanting one more time.
Yeah, and before starting my chanting, I want to show this Swami Mukundanandji's Bhagavad Gita, Song of God. That is the book we are using for all our commentary and recitation. Okay, so chapter 2, verse 56. Dukkeshvan anudvignamanaha sukeshu vigataspraha वीतरागभय क्रोधः स्थित धीर्मुनिर उच्यते यः सर्वत्राणभिस्नेहः तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभम् नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः. So hope that helps you for your revision and practice for these 5 verses from 56 to 60 of chapter 2.
Yeah, and final comment I'll make is that one of the video links we'll provide this time. We do hope you check it out. Just 2 minutes. It is, Happy Republic Day wishes. And that's the video here that's on the screen. We'll provide a link to that in one of the cards that you'll see at the bottom, perhaps. So do check that out. It has a nice connection to the Bhagavad Gita that we all are, of course, continuing to study. With that, of course, we look forward to seeing all of you on Saturday, 28th January 2023. That'll be for Bhagavad Gita study, our continuing series for chapter 6. Last couple of verses of chapter 6 to be covered. And then, of course, we'll also meet you in this Bhagavad Gita recitation class that is next time on Thursday, 2nd February 2023. Till then, once more, Happy Republic Day, Happy Basant Panchami to one and all. Thank you, and Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.